What's up, my lovely people? Happy to have you here. If you're new to this channel, my name is Megan May, and today I want to talk about wisdom and what is the difference between having wisdom and having knowledge. In the comments below, what do you believe wisdom is versus knowledge? Let me know what the difference is in the comment section. So what I believe it is the fact that we have all of this information out there right now, especially with Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, especially short form content in particular. We are being bombarded with all of this differing information, and a lot of it is just ChatGPT and spewed out, regurgitated information, and a lot of it is just read. So that's part of why I want to get back on YouTube and just have this one-shot take of us talking one-on-one so we can build a real connection. I feel like as much as social media has brought us together, it's really caused this huge epidemic of people just being lonelier than ever. When it comes to knowledge, how I like to gain most of my knowledge is through reading books, and instead of just short form content, because that is very, very short lived. And a lot of the times we might save. I mean, think about it for yourself. How many times have you come across a recipe or a stretch or a workout move that you are like, oh, I'm gonna save that, or just something that makes you feel really good, like a motivational quote? And you're like, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna come back to it later. I'm gonna do that later. Well, how many times have you actually done that? I'm guilty of it as well. So with this short form content, I'm just not a huge fan of, and I believe that we need that if we are gonna build our brands. But I like to gain my knowledge and wisdom through books, through reading, and through taking courses. That's just my personal preference. Because I believe that when you read a book right here, for instance, when you are reading a book, it is spending time with that particular person. When you are reading a book, you are spending time with that author, and they are imparting their knowledge, their long-lived, hard-earned knowledge, and they're just handing it over to you, how I see it, on a silver platter. And so I like to, I've also learned to speed read, and that's a whole different topic, but it is taking and extracting the knowledge from that author and just putting it right in your brain. And I am obsessive when I read. I actually believe I study books. I don't just read. I don't passively listen. I have a ton on Audible, and I put it on speed 2.0 or even sometimes 3.0. And I type as I listen, or that is solely what I'm doing. I don't passively, I'm not cleaning as I'm listening. I'm just not. If I'm doing something passively, I just feel like that's not how we learn. That's not how knowledge sinks in. I don't think that is something that's going to stay with you long term if you're not actively listening. That's just how I work. That's how my brain works. Because I feel like when I'm typing, I am imprinting that into my brain. So when I'm reading a book, I will highlight, or when I'm listening, I'm usually typing, or I'll pause it and I'll take a voice note, because that's still repeating that, and it's coming out of your body then, out of your voice. And then even if you don't remember the exact sentence, how my mind works anyway, is that knowledge will kind of put itself together. What's a better word for that? It'll kind of compile itself and organize itself into its own files, so that when you're having normal conversation with people, you tend to just be able to be well-versed on a lot of different topics just because you're so well read. So I have read close to at least 200 books, and well, also it's Audible, so I'm not reading all of it, but I feel that I am well-versed on a lot of different topics. And with that being said, let's jump to the next part of it, is I believe that there's a huge difference between acquiring all of this knowledge, right? All of this information, and we are absolutely in information overload in today's day and age. And like I said, a lot of it is just ChatGPT slop. A lot of it is ChatGPT garbage. And if you talk to somebody that is just spitting out the ChatGPT stuff, sometimes they actually aren't as well versed in a one-on-one conversation. So I think with the pendulum swinging so far into the AI world, that us human beings, right, instead of being a human doing, a human being, we're going to be seeking that connection, that one-on-one again, where we feel like we're talking to an actual human. We're not just being talked at of like, this is step one, this is what to do, and I just got that from ChatGPT. You know, like we don't want that. I don't want that anyway. So as you are acquiring this knowledge, as you are reading the books that you're reading, and let me know what you're into reading right now recently, that there comes a time, and this is kind of what I'm working through personally right now, there comes a time when we really have to embody that knowledge and live it. And in my last video that I just posted, I talked about astrology and why I'm so into it recently, because I'm multifaceted, I'm multi-passionate, as I'm sure you are too if you're watching this channel. And there comes a time where we have all this information, but it's time to live it. And I definitely have lived a lot of it in the past. I mean, with how many books that I have read and things that I've experienced and done in my life, I've embodied a lot of it. But there's just some books that I'm now really living, that I'm totally taking in and living on a day-to-day basis, that I don't think I was really aware of before, that I don't think I was really doing that before. So wisdom, I feel, is taking everything that you've learned from wherever you've learned it, whether it's school, courses, reading, or social media, and actually doing it. So I invite you that, and I'm going to be doing this as well, I invite you to maybe think of the last book that you read, and don't move on to that next book, or don't move on to that next course until you've actually done all the exercises in that book. So for instance, the last book I read is called Existential Kink. And before you freak out, it's actually a book on shadow work, and it's amazing. It's going into the shadow, and I don't want to talk too much about it. Just look it up yourself. But it's about facing the shadow, and an example would be realizing that the shadow is a fear that you have, and it is integrating that shadow, because that shadow, once integrated, can protect you. So for me, I want to go through this book and really write down, or I like to type, because I believe, like there's two thoughts I have in this. So writing is great, but if you're not actually going to write, you're just better off typing. If that's what I think doing is better than intending on doing something. And so if you're like me and just prefer to type, just do that. And but if you like to write, do that. But it's really going through the exercises in the book and really doing that, because definitely doing shadow work is super healthy, and that is where you're taking the knowledge and embodying it into wisdom. And I think a little bit on a tangent on spiritual growth, it's not just about how much knowledge we can acquire. It's not just about learning more about different religions and looking and reading and gaining all this knowledge. I believe that the spiritual path is about us growing our souls and becoming that person, that embodied person, that person that lives what they say, what they read, and living that on a day-to-day basis. So I encourage you, what is the last book that you've read? And go through the exercises and actually do them. And just once you've embodied that yourself, I think you'll be able to go out in the world and interact with people with a different sense of compassion. Because I think that a lot of people go out in the world and they judge others for how they're living their lives, or judging them based on their model of the world, how, through their lens. And the more that we embody the knowledge, the more that we actually turn that knowledge into lived wisdom, the more that we are going to understand that the world has nuance, that people have nuance to them, that we are not just two-dimensional, that's my alarm, that we are not just two-dimensional like we see on social media, that we are 3D human beings, and we are meant to live this multi-dimensional life. And so with that being said, if you guys enjoy videos like this, I like having this one-on-one conversation. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. Maybe share this with somebody who would like this type of video. And thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk very soon. I'll see you in the next video.